Don't you find it curious that the way we learn is through repetition? We sit behind a desk with our pen and paper, we reread the same information over and over and over, and then it begins to sink in. But in the modern age, that feels so slow and mundane. Why can't we find a better way to remember information? Reminds me of a quote from Albert Einstein: the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So if we keep doing the same thing, we keep rereading information, expecting it to get into our memory and give us the opportunities that we seek in life, perhaps, but then we end up in the same place every time. We just forget everything we read, we forget everything we try to learn. So what if I said there was a better method, way more powerful? In fact, going back to my university studies, when I first honed this technique, I would compare it to having your notes present in your test, which is cheating, except it's in your mind. So it's like you can remember the things you read. You can reproduce it on a piece of paper. I wish that was the test. Remember your notes, reproduce your notes. That'd be amazing. How? How can you do this? How is this even possible? How have you not found out about this? It's okay, I'm going to give you a practical guide on where this technique came from, how you can use it, how to best implement it, and even better, what you could do to boost the technique and incorporate it into your normal learning. Who am I? I'm Dr. Rikas Burta. Let's launch in. The traditional method of note-taking, linear, sequential, and often bloated, has long been the default mode of recording information. Yet, this very structure is at odds with how the human brain processes, associates, and recalls knowledge. Now, an alternative approach, known as mind mapping, was developed to align more closely with the brain's natural thinking patterns. Far from a mere visual gimmick, the mind map represents a powerful cognitive tool grounded in psychology and enhanced by research and educational theory. The technique was first formalized in the 1970s by British educational consultant Tony Buzan. Now, Buzan observed that the conventional way students took notes, with lists and dense blocks of text, failed to support memory, creativity, or deep understanding. Now, inspired by his research into memory champions, brain function, and pedagogical efficiency, Buzan devised a method to mirror what he termed radiant thinking, the mind's natural tendency to expand ideas outwards, forming links in association in a non-linear fashion. His intent was not simply to create a more aesthetic note-taking method, but to develop a tool that engaged both hemispheres of the brain, integrating logic with imagination, and thereby enhancing retention, creativity, and comprehension. Mind mapping operates on a set of principles that make it neurologically compelling. At its core, a mind map begins with a central concept, written or drawn in the middle of a page. From this, nucleus branches radiate outward to represent subtopics, which then split into further, more granular ideas. This branching structure directly mirrors the architecture of semantic memory and association networks in the brain. Importantly, mind maps use a single keyword or concise phrases rather than sentences, thereby distilling information to its essence. This practice forces active engagement and prevents the cognitive overload associated with rote transcription. Furthermore, mind maps incorporate visual elements such as color, symbols, and imagery. These components leverage dual coding theory, which posits that information is better remembered when presented in both verbal and visual formats. Spatial arrangement also plays a crucial role. Unlike linear notes, mind maps have a topographical structure that facilitates spatial memory, allowing individuals to recall information based on its location on the page. Now, these interlocking elements, central focus, semantic branching, and visual cues and spatial coding, all combine to make mind maps deeply aligned with the principles of human cognition. The technique is most effective in specific contexts. First, mind maps excel in conceptual revision, particularly in subjects like biology, history, or philosophy, where the interrelation of ideas is central. Second, they are valuable for essay planning and presentation preparation, helping learners structure arguments, identify thematic clusters, and anticipate counterpoints. Third, in creative or collaborative environments, mind maps serve as dynamic platforms for brainstorming and problem solving, allowing for the rapid generation and refinement of ideas in group settings. The utility of mind mapping is further enhanced when combined with complementary study techniques. Now, one effective pairing is with active recall, wherein the mind map serves as a cue-based tool for memory retrieval. Covering a branch and attempting to reconstruct its content activates long-term memory consolidation. Space repetition can also be layered onto mind mapping as periodic review of the same diagram, possibly with iterative elaboration, deepens understanding. Now, the Feynman technique, which encourages explaining concepts in simple language, pairs well with mind maps by treating each node as a teachable unit. Incorporating dual coding through visuals and symbols further strengthens memory traces. Finally, interleaving, or the practice of mixing topics within a single study session, can be implemented by connecting branches from multiple disciplines within one map, fostering transfer learning and integrative thinking. Now, mind mapping has achieved recognition in both public and academic domains. It has been featured in educational broadcasts, international memory competitions, and corporate training programs. Empirical research has also validated its efficiency. A notable study by Ferrand et al. 2002 demonstrated that university students using mind maps for revision scored significantly higher on factual recall tests than those who were using traditional note methods. D and Tony et al. 2010 showed similar benefits in medical education, where concept maps enhance short-term retention. Epler in 2006 confirmed the technique's value in business communication, particularly for clarifying complex information and stimulating creativity. Now, these studies affirm that mind mapping is not merely intuitive, it's evidence-based. Now, to apply mind maps effectively, learners should follow a few best practices. It is advisable to begin with physical drawing, as the motor engagement improves focus and memory encoding. Only keywords should be used to prevent cognitive overload, and visual elements should be consistently applied to reinforce associations. Now, the map should be radially logical, with the main branches representing major themes and sub-branches representing supporting points. Crucially, mind maps should be used actively, not simply drawn and admired. Their power lies in the continuous engagement, reviewing, expanding, testing recall, and adapting as understanding evolves. Nonetheless, certain pitfalls must be avoided. Overpopulating branches of detail can make the map unreadable and defeat its mnemonic purpose. Neglecting visual differentiation or using full sentences undermines the technique's core advantages. Most critically, if the mind map is treated as a one-time product rather than a dynamic tool, its value diminishes significantly. Now, mind mapping is a cognitive resonance strategy that offers a practical, research-supported alternative to conventional note-taking. It engages the brain's associative, visual, and spatial systems in tandem, transforming passive review into active exploration. When paired with methods like active recall, space repetition, and interleaving, it becomes a core element of a sophisticated learning toolkit. For students, professionals, and lifelong learners alike, mind mapping is not merely an option, it's a powerful cognitive strategy worth mastering. Now, if you found that video useful, you should consider subscribing. What are we about on this channel? Well, at Areteerga, we're all about reaching our full potential through dedicated hard work. My inspiration for the channel is helping unlock our full potential in life, particularly focusing on learning. There's only so much information that can be conferred through a YouTube video. If you're looking for more specific guidance and practical tools, head over to my website, areteerga.com, where you're going to find more useful strategies and a lot more detail on how you can achieve your ultimate potential. Well done. See you on the next video.